Again, proud of the start that we got off to last week. It's a really good start for us. And this is another great opportunity for us to be at home and, hopefully continue to grow our football team. App State, very impressed with their team. Very impressed with the team, the success that they've had, the run that they're on right now is really impressive. And I think the biggest thing that jumps out at me when I watch them on both sides is they're very well coached. They know what they're doing. Very sound in what they do on both sides of the ball. Right now they got the 5th longest winning streak in the country, and with 7 wins in a row. And one of the things I always talk to our team about, we talk about celebrating wins. It's hard to win a game. People really don't have an understanding of just how hard it is to win. And, that just goes to show you. They got the 5th longest winning streak in the country with 7 wins. And I think Tim told me yesterday we got the 9th longest winning streak with 4 wins in a row, which ain't many. So that just is some perspective on how hard it is to win a football game, and especially to consistently win week in and week out. And, I don't care who you playing. It's hard to do that. And so, these guys have been impressive. And the biggest thing, is just their personnel. They list 19 starters back, but they really got more than that. They got several guys that have started for them that are listed as backups. They just got a lot of guys that have played a lot of ball, and with that comes confidence. And then you get on a run like they're on, it just kind of adds to that. So this is a football team that I think we're going to have to show up and really play to the level that we're capable of playing. They have our full attention. I can assure you that. Offensively, as I said earlier, they know what they're doing. They're led by their quarterback, Bobby Lamb's boy, and when you watch when you watch Bobby Lamb, when you watch the Lamb kid play, you can tell he's a coach's son. He just has a savviness to him, instincts. He's got great pocket presence and knows what he's doing, knows where everybody is on the field, and just a great understanding of their scheme. Good athlete. Their offensive line, all 4 of the 5 are back. They're tough. They're physical. They're scrappy. They do a good job of cutting the defense in half, getting guys on the ground, especially on the backside on plays away. Tight end, they use him as a fullback a lot. They'll get, they like to create a 2-back lead zone type of deal, and also use him on some counter type stuff. He's a good player, good pass receiver also. And then very impressed with their wideouts. This is a bunch that our DBs better be ready, because these guys are scrappy. They flat get after you. They do a great job of cutting guys downfield, and I think that's something that our DBs are going to have to really be ready for this week, because these guys are definitely going to get after them. And they play with tempo, so the discipline that we have to use, getting the calls in, getting lined up. Obviously, we practice against tempo every day, so hopefully that's not that big a deal for us, but it is something that we got to be ready for. Their defense, they got 9 starters back. We do have good carryover from what we saw with Wofford last week as far as their scheme and what they do. A lot of odd front, old Okie defense, Sam and Will fire, and a lot of quarter half, but the difference is we're dealing with different athletes at App. This is a very athletic bunch. They got some guys that could play here at Clemson, so as a result, a lot more pressure. Last week we didn't see hardly any pressure. This week there'll be a lot of pressure, a lot of blitzing. They've shown a lot of cover zero on tape, and so that's something that we got to do a good job of, because we're going to have more twists and things that we're going to have to pick up, zone stoppers up front, and just, again, being able to have everybody on the same page so we don't get our quarterback hit, because they will bring more than you can block. And when people bring more than you can block, then you got to, again, your sights, your hots, the way we flip the protections, Deshaun's got to be sharp and knowing who's coming free. So it's just a different challenge for us this week. all in all, really impressed with their guys up front. Again, a bunch of guys. They got 49, I think, has started about 40 games for him. He's played a lot of football. He's a really, really good football player. He and 40, two very, very active guys in this 3-4 front that they play, and they got speed in the secondary. So this is a good football team. I mean, and when you watch them, it's really easy to see why they've had the success that they've had. And each week, as they've gone on this run, you see their confidence has grown. I think this is a really tough challenge for us, and we're excited to be back in the Valley. Appreciate the crowd we had last week, and hope everybody will show up again this week with the same type of fervor, because we certainly feel like that Death Valley is a great advantage for us each and every week, and we look forward to playing there again. Biggest thing for me, I'm just looking for consistency. We played one game, and it was a good first game as far as, just getting out of the gate and the execution that we had, especially with our first groups, and being able to accomplish some of the goals that we had set going into that game. But for me, I just want to see some consistency, in our performance. Can we, get on a little bit of a roll here as far as individual guys playing at a high level and not seeing guys kind of be up and down from week to week. I really want to see that type of development with our guys as we move forward. Injury-wise, everybody is back with the exception of Mike Williams. Obviously, he won't be with us, but everybody else will be back in practice today, and Seconder practiced yesterday, so we expect him to be with us as well. So only two guys right now that are out are Mike and then Corinne. With that, I'll take your questions.
Coach, I use the term jolt because I don't know another way to put it, but as a coach, when you see something happen like what happened to Mike last weekend, can you describe that, I guess, the jolt from going from being so focused on the game to what is a very serious situation?
Well, I knew it was pretty serious, by the reaction of our medical team. So, I went out there, but I knew he was okay. When I got out there, he was moving everything. He was talking. In fact, he really wanted to get up and walk off, but where he was hurting. I mean, they did a great job, and so he's very fortunate, very lucky, and he's going to heal up nice, and I have no idea when he'll play football again, but he'll have opportunity to play football again. It's just a situation where he's got to heal. But he's lucky, and it's just a reminder. It's a violent game. It's a tough game, and injuries are a part of it. Always have been, always will be. Injuries are a part of every sport. It doesn't matter if it's baseball or basketball or whatever. I mean, it's just when you compete, there's always a chance you can get hurt, and you never want to see that for anybody. But it's just we all know it's part of it. And I was just glad that he was okay. That was the biggest thing for me, was that he's going to be fine. And just love the response that he's had. I mean, he's really just kind of jumped right back in, gotten plugged in with the guys, and can't play, but is doing his part to try to make sure he still wants to win. We talk about that all the time, taking ownership in your position, because sometimes you may roll an ankle, can't play. Well, guess what? You're going to want to win still. So making sure that guys at your position are ready, and kind of the coaching within the team is something that we take a lot of pride on around here.
Dabo, since he hit the goalpost, was it just a freak thing, or is there anything that you guys will do with that setup in terms of the padding or location, or
I don't know. I mean, really, what you can do. I mean, it was kind of a freak bang bang thing. I mean, anything can happen, that's. I'm sure that there'll be a lot of those questions asked, and people will look at all that type of stuff. But I don't really know what you can do. You got to have goalposts. They can't hang them from the sky. Maybe we'll have some. It's just anything can happen. But it was kind of a fluky thing, and the kid kind of pushes him from behind, and he's just playing ball. He's just trying to. Maybe knock the ball loose, and it's just unfortunate. It's just an unfortunate, deal. And but I think that we're just all thankful that he's okay.
We saw you go over and talk to the Wofford kid. What did you say to him?
I didn't talk to the Wofford kid. No. I actually talked to Coach Ayers for just a second. I was just letting Coach Ayers know he was okay. That we're going to be very precautionary, and they just completely locked him down to where he couldn't move because they just like I said, where he was having the pain, and he had some quick tingling. They just didn't want to take a chance with that. The guy get up and walking around, and you just don't know. And then as it turns out, in the MRI, he had got a little small fracture in there. So just a really, really good job by our medical staff, and the steps that they took, and just being safe.
A lot of coaches today are talking about the improvement from week 1 to week 2. It's always the biggest improvement that everybody has. You're in a little different situation because of the way your first group played. Is that kind of consistency you're talking about? Is that you can take what they did and do it again against this team, a better team?
Well, I think it's like when I met with the team yesterday. It's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems, and we got a lot to improve on. So I'm looking for a lot of improvement. From my perspective, because we had mental errors, we had a turnover, we had some really, we had a really bad decision on a punt return with Ray. We had a muff by Renfro. Those are things that we have to correct because those things will cost you a game. We had more penalties than the opponent. That's part of our plan to win. We didn't get that done. We had more margin for error in that game. But as we move through the season, our margin for error is going to really shrink down. So I'm looking for certain things from individual guys. Maybe it's everybody thinks certain guys played great, but their grade wasn't very good because their technique and their fundamentals weren't what they needed to be. So I'm looking for guys. Okay, let me see you grade better. All right, yeah, your performance was okay, the result was okay, but I'm looking for your fundamentals and your technique to improve this week because this isn't winning football, that grade. And so taking pride in your own performance and not having, some guys, they just kind of gave away some easy minuses, as far as how we grade them. Nothing that maybe somebody sitting in the stands pays attention to or even cares about because getting the result that you want. But from my perspective as a coach and looking at how we grade everybody and evaluating that, I'm looking for improvement from a lot of guys. But as a whole, collectively, our first groups, absolutely, I want to see the consistency with our execution, from week in and week out. Can we make the right adjustments? Continue to do a good job of taking care of the football, which I thought we did. It's unfortunate we had the fumble with Nick, but that was really poor by CJ. CJ didn't set the edge, Nick thinks he's going to be blocked. We don't block him, and then Nick did a poor job of getting his other hand off the ball, and he had one hand, a ball in jeopardy, as we call it, and that's what happens. Next thing you know, a guy gets a hand in there. So just some fundamental things that we can improve on is the biggest thing, and then just clean execution. Defensively, same thing. I thought we played with great energy. We were disciplined. It was a very difficult, I don't care who you're playing, that was a very difficult challenge schematically for your first game, and especially with a lot of guys who really hadn't played a whole lot. And I thought we really did a nice job. Didn't have hardly any mental errors on defense. For the most part, we leveraged the ball pretty well. We got a couple times where they cut us down and they got outside of us, but we did a good job. Guys being where they were supposed to be, doing their job in a very disciplined, manner. So totally different deal this week from our defensive standpoint. Very, very different. But again, nothing that they haven't seen, especially on our practice field. We do some similar things, but it's a different type of discipline that we have to play with this week.
Your schedule with so many with all the freshmen that you're playing, does this schedule really benefit you, sort of stepping up the competition as you get closer to conference play, as opposed to maybe starting with a team like a Georgia, like you did the last 2 years?
Well, maybe that's a question you can ask me in a few weeks. Right now we've played one game, and I have no idea if it's that or not. Maybe it'll play out to be that way. Maybe we look back in 4 or 5 weeks and we can say, boy, man, our schedule allowed us to. But that kind of is a disrespectful comment to App State. Our full attention is on App State, and it better be. This is a football team. If people don't think they can come in here and win, they're crazy. This team can play and beat anybody. They were a 1AA team and beat a Michigan team. They dang sure can beat a Division I team as a Division I team, especially a team with the confidence, chemistry, leadership, and experience that they have coming in here. So, we just don't think like that. I mean, I just don't, look at it that way. We're just trying to worry about Clemson and play to the level that we want to play at, whether we were playing Georgia this week or whether we're playing App State. It really should have nothing to do with our thought process and our mentality. Like I said, maybe it works out that way. Heck, we played Wofford in 2011, and that's probably the problem. Maybe we thought we were going to get to play a lot of people and this and that. Well, we're fighting for our lives and didn't hardly play anybody in that game, except for the starters. So I'm just thankful that it worked out this past week, that we took care of business and were able to play a lot of guys. But you can't go into the game expecting that to happen. You're thinking that that's just not the way we think.
Do you try to roll out maybe some more guys in this game just because of the quick turnaround next week, or do you not worry about the lack of rest in between games?
We're not worried about all that. We're trying to get to 1-0 this week. Everything we got to win this game, and then you just react to the game. I mean, it's a 4-quarter game all the way to the end. That's the way it is, and you get ready to play the next one. If you're able to, have some type of situation where you have a comfortable lead or something, sure, you try to play as many guys as you can, but you just don't. Those are things that you got to go earn. We're expecting a 4-quarter dogfight from a team that's doesn't want to lose, and a team that's playing some really good football right now. So that's all we're worried about, is winning this game. We'll worry about the next one when that time comes.
Mike Williams early on to these freshmen Saturday and yesterday, Christian and Ray Garrett. They just seem different. They're more poised than some of these other true freshmen we've seen in the past. What do you see out of those guys?
They're young and talented. They're excited about the fact that they're playing. I think they love their experience. Ray was pretty smooth out there. I mean, obviously disappointed with his decision. Trying to make some heroic catch, like we have to catch the ball there, and that's just him trying to do too much. And so you got to stay within the flow of the game and make good decisions along the way. But this is a mature group. Again, 15 guys came in January, so you're talking about a lot of guys that graduated early, and obviously that's paid off for some of these guys. And then for Garrett and Ray and Christian, guys that did not get here, Dion, until this summer, they've done a great job of coming in ready, first of all, doing what they needed to do to prepare themselves and give themselves an opportunity, and then their performance in camp. So they have bright futures, but they're still just freshmen, and a lot to learn, and they're just going to get better each and every week, each and every practice. I think you're going to see these guys get better.
To that point, you lose Mike for the foreseeable future. The talent that you have, the freshmen, 3 of the top 4 catchers from Saturday's game were freshmen. The comfort level you have in those guys being ready to come in and make big plays right away.
Well, we're not going to just replace Mike. I mean, Mike, we can replace his talent, as I've said. I mean, we've got I think excellent talent at receiver. We're very fortunate there, but there's just nothing like that veteran player, that experience. He's a guy that has really worked on his craft, and he's kind of become an expert at it. And not just the nuances of his position, but the nuances, the little details, the why of everything in our offense. So that's hard to replace. with a freshman. It just freshmen become sophomores and sophomores become juniors, and they're better players through experience. That's just the way it is. But that doesn't mean you can't be successful. But to say one guy is going to take that spot, I think it's going to be a combination of everybody on our offense. We're very fortunate that I think that we've got the best depth we've had in a while at tight end, and I think that those guys certainly will have a bigger role moving forward this year. And then Sharon Peak, I mean, to have a guy like him, and man, this he's option number one. I mean, he's the first guy because. Same thing. He knows this offense inside and out. He's playing at a level he's always wanted to play at, but has kind of been limited to going through his career. So hopefully he can stay healthy because he can definitely fill a lot of that void. And then Dion and Travion and Ray and Hopper. Obviously, Artavis is a guy that's off to a good start, but those guys have to all combine to help us out, and I think they will.
If you played as many guys as you did in the first week, how do you go back and evaluate them and figure out, okay, now who can play more the next week or who should play as much the next week?
It's tape. I mean, watch the tape. Some guys, you look at and you say, okay, this kid responded well, knew what he was doing, he was prepared. Other guys didn't play quite as fast as we wanted them to. Why? Well, they were a little hesitant because they're thinking. And so how do we, can improve upon that? They're just, you watch the tape and you evaluate the guys. And some guys, they're playing more than probably they're ready to play. But that's the nature of their position. And then there's other guys that maybe are ready for a little bit more, but the depth in front of them. Kind of limits them a little bit. So, but we just want to get as many guys ready to play as possible, because we know we're going to need depth. We're going to need depth as we go through this season. I mean, we're going to have a quick turnaround next week, and then we get into October and play 9 straight. So, I think the first part of the season, being able to, develop as much experience as possible. It's just like our offensive line. I wanted to get our offensive line in the game early, and I kind of made my mind up that if we got a little bit of a spread, regardless of when that was, I was going to go with that second group because I wanted them to play some meaningful snaps. I wanted those guys to get in there with that little bit of pressure on them and see how they responded. Man, they did a great job. They really did an excellent job. I think we punch it in or come away with points if we don't have the turnover there, but. That's huge for us, and it's huge for those guys to be able to get that type of experience, especially early in the game like that. We were fortunate to be able to do that.
Do you have clarity on your return guys, or are those auditions continuing?
No, we got clarity. I mean, we know Artavis right now is our best option as far as veteran guy that and I think he kind of earned that. Saturday we in our punt return game, Artavis and Hopper and Ray and Renfro, those are guys that we've really been, kind of mixing in back there. I think Renfro is going to be an excellent returner at some point. Disappointed that he dropped that ball because he don't ever drop a ball. He just had a bad play. Ray, I think, can be as good as maybe we've ever had here. But he's got to make the right decision. So the only way you can kind of get better at that, you got to give guys opportunities. So that was the plan going in, and we'll continue to work those guys in. But we have a very good comfort zone with Artavis. And then same thing, he'll continue to get opportunities on the kick return. We didn't get an opportunity with TJ and CJ. CJ did a great job as our off returner. But wanted to get TJ an opportunity. He didn't get one, but TJ and Artavis right now are kind of option 1 and option 2 there, kind of 1 and 1A and 1 and 1A. So that's where we are. But punt return, I like the guys. It was a very difficult game as far as the types of punts that we were getting. The guy was trying to hold the ball as long as he could and just throw a grenade out there, and it worked one time. I think it just came down and hit Renfro, and that's a difficult thing. So, You got to really do a good job of trying to force the punt quick, which we did as the game went. We did a much better job of that, but you have no idea what kind of kick you're going to get. And so we had a couple that we were able to handle, and then the others, we just couldn't field them. It's not worth it. You want to make sure you possess the ball is the biggest thing, and that's the lesson to teach Ray in that regard, because we're going to see that again. We'll probably see some of it this week.
How has Guillermo changed as a person since last winter?
Well, he's just having fun. I mean, he just looks happy. He's very confident in what he's doing. He's having fun playing football again. And as far as how he's changed as a person, I think he's always been a good person. I've never had a problem with Guillermo. I just think that, he just kind of lost his way a little for a while there and lost his love for football and just kind of had some issues and distractions off the field that kind of, mounted up on him. I think he's communicating a lot better than maybe he did in the past, but I'm proud of him. I mean, he just is got a great look in his eye and is off to a good start.
Mitch Hyatt being a true freshman at left tackle, how do you think he performed in his first game for someone in that position?
Played well. He played really, really well. He had a couple of he got beat underneath one time. A little bit of a pressure there, but he played great. Had some knockdowns, had some good finishes. He maintained several blocks. I mean, had some good double teams. It'd be hard for a guy to play better in his first college game, at that position. Is there things he can improve on? Absolutely. Footwork, hand placement, fundamentals, leverage, just different things. But for evaluation of where he is right now in his career at this level, was a great start for him.
Go back to first week of fall camp and even the spring. Did he ever show fear mixing it up with Shaq or any of those defensive linemen?
No. Mitch came in ready to play. He doesn't say a whole lot. He's a lot like Deshaun in that regard. Deshaun came in, very similar guys, very focused, and both very confident. Deshaun just kind of went to work, and all right, let me learn the offense. Okay, let me get out here and get some practice, and all right, let me go compete. Okay, what reps I get, I'm gonna make them count, and he just was never overwhelmed. And I've seen the same thing in Mitch. He came in ready to play, focused. He knows his limitations as far as, he's got to continue to get bigger and stronger. That's just Mother Nature, in time, and nothing you can do about that. He's big and strong for a freshman, but nowhere near what he's going to look like in a couple of years. But his technique, his fundamentals, he's a very sound guy, has a great football foundation, and he just loves it. I mean, he loves it. He's very competitive. He's very prideful in his performance. And, you show up and you roll out there in your first, college practice. You're blocking, Shaq and Kevin Dodd. You either grow up quick or you find a way to go stand on that sideline. And that's the choice you have to make. And he's lost a lot of his share of battles, spring and fall camp, but he just keeps coming. And he's won some too. And I think, just getting better each and every day, when you're going against great players like that, to me, it makes the game easier for you. And that's kind of what I saw with Mitch. The game was slower for him Saturday than what it's been on our practice field. You show up at our practice, you better have your mind right, because when we go good on good, there's nowhere to hide, especially when you play left tackle and you got Deshaun Watson back there as your quarterback. So I just think that the challenge that he's had on our practice field day in and day out has really helped, escalate his development from January to this first game.
What is his ideal weight by the time he leaves here?
Oh, he'll be 300-plus guy, easy. He's 285, kind of between 285 and 290, but he's a 300-pounder plus, athletic. I mean, he's just a strong kid. But he's just a true freshman. I mean, he's just gonna continue to develop physically.
Obviously, you want to score touchdowns every time, but if you kind of want to see what Hugo looks like before you go to Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we get an opportunity to kick a field goal, but I prefer to just keep scoring touchdowns. An extra point is a field goal. That's as long as it's going through the pipes. I don't have to necessarily say, all right, let's go kick a 40-yarder or something. I just, the fact to see him go through the routine and the mechanics and put it through the pipes wherever we put the ball down, that's his job. Whether it's an extra point or a field goal. But yeah, I hope that we don't have to rely on many field goals. But when that time comes, I think he'll be ready.
Defense looked great on Saturday, but only recorded 1 sack. Obviously, Wofford's a team against which you don't get many sacks, but is that going to be a point of emphasis, generating more pressure?
Well, I don't know that it's a point of emphasis than it has been. It's just, style of play. You're running against a triple option team. They're just not a pass team. And when they do pass, it's off of some heavy play action. Like I said, we did get the 1 sack. I thought we dominated inside, which really created some problems for them. This team, we'll find out more. We better get pressure on this quarterback because if we don't, they got some guys outside that are really good route runners, that got good ball skills, that can get open. And then they're well coached. They have a great scheme. They know what they're doing. They got a lot of read type stuff that they will be effective against us if we can't get pressure. You can only cover guys so long. So different animal this week. Totally different. The ball, and then their ball's they try to get the ball. I don't think they're going to hold the ball long. They're going to try to get the ball out quick on us because I know they'll have respect for our speed. But that's where your coverage comes in. So hopefully we can do a great job coverage-wise and have a good complement, and get more pressure this week because we will certainly have a lot more opportunities. These guys are going to throw the football.
Andy Keystall did all that crisply.
I did solid. We had just a couple opportunities. Didn't get a lot of work. Didn't even get a chance to punt until late in the third quarter. So, same thing. I hope that he's rusty every game. I hope he doesn't get many opportunities to punt. But we're very confident in Andy. He did what he needed to do. Had a sky punt. That the execution of it wasn't exactly like he wanted, but the result was pretty good, pinning him down inside the 20. So he was fortunate he got a good roll on that. But Andy's going to be just fine. I don't have any worries about him.
Coach, what was your team's reaction when they found out that Mike had a fracture in his neck? Was it immediately a next man up mentality?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I went over there because they were all really concerned. And so I went over and just let them know he's okay. It wasn't a situation where he wasn't moving or anything like that, so they were all at ease. And that's why I did that. I wanted them to know he was fine. And listen, let's refocus here. Hey, let's get next guy up. Let's be ready to go. Mike's okay. They're going to take great precaution with him. Told him what was going on. I think the biggest thing initially, everybody was just very concerned because of, again, the reaction of the medical team and him being down and all that type of stuff. Because he's kind of Superman around here. Mike, I don't think he's ever missed a game. He's just a guy that doesn't get hurt a whole lot and doesn't miss much practice. And to see him not get up was kind of took everybody's breath away. And then, once they knew he was okay, then everybody kind of refocused and, all right, let's go. Let's get this thing going. And, a great opportunity. It's a great teaching lesson for all those guys because, again, you got to be ready. Next man's got to be ready. And that's why it's important that, these guys take the reps serious. And if they're not getting the reps physically, that they're really mentally repping during practice and that they're taking time to really be focused in their meetings, but also outside of their meetings on doing some of their study on their own. All these guys got all the film on their iPads and just taking time, outside of our time that we can require to put the time in because you never know when you're that guy.
What makes Taylor Lamb so effective, and how well is that? How well do you know Bobby?
Oh, I've known Bobby a long time. Long time. He's a friend, and Taylor's he's just as I said earlier, he's a good athlete. runs better than maybe he gets credit for. He's just got that savviness to him that when you watch him play, he just makes plays. You think you got him, and then he's just sliding in the pocket, and then right before you get him, he may take off, and it's a 10-yard gain. He's just a crafty little guy, and I don't think he's that big. He's probably a 6'1" type of guy, but he's a good football player. It's just really the biggest thing. Very smart, knows where everybody is on the field. He's got a poise to him. You can just tell that he's been doing this a long time. So he's a guy that we'll have to really affect. We can't let him get comfortable. We got to make it a very uncomfortable day for him, and not let him get in any type of rhythm. And then I think they've got a good supporting group around him. And then that offensive line. I mean, you really watch these guys. I mean, they will get after you. They are very scrappy, and you can tell they like to play the game. And they just, as a group, there's just a chemistry that kind of jumps out on tape.
Anybody got anything else?
Coach, talk about the fans. A lot of the games we've seen this weekend had a lot of empty seats in them. Talk about the fans there Saturday.
Well, that's why it's a blessing to be at Clemson. It really is. I see the same things. You turn on different. I think sometimes that, even our players, and I remind them all the time, may take that for granted because it's not like this everywhere. It's really not. This is an elite place when it comes to game day atmosphere, fan support, people showing up, and it's just awesome to me to. I mean, and again, we've sold out Wofford and we've sold out Appalachian State, and I don't think it's always been that way around here. We've always had great crowds, but to have sellouts in these type of games, I think is a credit to the work that our players have done. Our players, we want them to play to the standard, period, regardless of who they play. We don't. And there was a time, and I used to talk about that all the time 6-7 years ago. I'd say, listen, we got to quit worrying about our uniforms. We need to quit worrying about what time we play. So sick of hearing that. We need to quit worrying about the weather. We need to quit worrying about who the opponent is. Show up and play. Play to the level that it takes to be great, and quit worrying about all that other stuff. And our guys have bought into that, and our fans have too, and that's just, it's awesome. It was coming in on the bus the other day. I mean, I felt like we were coming in for game day Georgia all over again or something. I mean, it was awesome, and that's the way it should be. And it's just not that way everywhere. It's not, and we are very, very, very fortunate and very privileged to be at Clemson, and I try to always be mindful of that, and I try to remind our players of that all the time. Listen, don't take it for granted. Understand that this is a privilege. It's not, it's not a right. None of us have a right to be here. It's a privilege, and it's just a blessing to be able to be a part of it. Because at the end of the day, I love football. I love to coach. I'd love coaching anywhere. I got into coaching to coach. I just want to coach football. I wanted to compete. I wanted to be around young people. I wanted to do what I love to do. These guys play football because they love to play football. And you know what? Them guys at Wofford like to play football too. Everybody loves the game, but not everybody gets to be able to do it on the stage that we do and have the passion and the pageantry and the game day environment that we have. And it's a blessing that we do have it, and our fans are awesome.
Next week, we're going to do all of